Welcome back, all of you. So in this lecture, we'll continue from where we left in the previous lecture. We have discussed about the conventional AM, or which is also known as DSB-C modulation scheme. Conventional AM or double sideband with carrier modulation scheme, and we have seen the statistical analysis, a little bit of statistical analysis of that in time domain as well as in frequency domain. We have looked at the graphical representation of the spectrum as well as the time domain signal. So we have seen the standard expression for a conventional amplitude modulated signal is something like this. It has three components, that is the carrier component AC cos omega CT plus the upper sideband, which is AC mu by 2 cos of omega C plus omega m into T, plus the lower sideband AC mu by 2 cos of omega C minus omega m into T. So these are the three components that are present in the conventional AM or DSB-C type of a signal. Now let us see the important parameters associated with such a modulated signal. The very first important parameter is transmitted power for a conventional AM. Transmitted power required. Transmitted power required for this conventional AM modulated signal. Okay. Now see, it has three different components: carrier, upper sideband, lower sideband, right? So all the three components will have the power of their, will require some power to be transmitted, right? So the total power PT will be equal to the power required for the three components. All the three components are sinusoidal signal. So we know that the power of a sinusoidal signal, for example, let's A cos theta, the equivalent power is A square by 2. Right? This is the power of a sinusoidal signal. Now since all the three are sinusoidal signals, so the power of carrier signal, this carrier signal will be AC square by 2. So this is AC square by 2 plus power of this would be half of this square, that is AC square mu square by 8 plus same will be the power of the lower sideband. Lower sideband and the upper sideband have the same power, AC square mu square by 8. So this is the total power. Let us simplify this expression a bit. So this PT is said to be equal to AC square by 2 1 plus mu square by 2, and this AC square by 2 is nothing but power of the carrier signal. So PT is equal to PC into 1 plus mu square by 2. Yeah. So this is a very important expression, that is of the power required to transmit the conventional AM or DSB-C kind of a signal. Now if you carefully analyze this expression of the power required to be transmitted, it has two parts, PC plus PC into mu square by 2, isn't it? So one thing we can easily make out from this expression, that we are wasting a lot of power while using this scheme, because it has a factor PC. PC is what? Your carrier power. Carrier power is or the carrier signal is just to carry your signal, the information signal, from one place to another. It does not carry any useful information in it. Now since we are transmitting the carrier signal also in addition to the modulated signal, so it is just a simply waste of the power, because this carrier signal having power PC does not contain any information, isn't it? So we are wasting a good amount of power over here. Okay, so just to show you this thing numerically, let's take a very simple example and we consider the best possible scenario of the modulation, that is mu is equal to 1. Mu is equal to 1 is the best possible scenario, that is critical modulation. Right, we assume mu is equal to 1. So we know that PT is equal to, if we substitute mu is equal to 1 in this expression, we get 3 by 2 of PC. So we know that the carrier power PC is what? 66.66% of the total power PT. isn't it? Can we say that? That means for the best possible scenario, when mu is equal to 1, the power of carrier is 66% of the total power. That means we are wasting 66% of the power while using this modulation scheme, because it does not contain any useful information, right? Because the carrier power is a significant component of the total power. That is 66% of the total power for the best possible scenario, in fact. So we are wasting this amount of power in this modulation scheme. Alright. So building upon this, the second important parameter to look over here is power efficiency. Power efficiency of this DSB-C or conventional AM modulated signal represented by eta. It is useful power divided by total power, as simple as that, into 100%. That is the simple expression. So what is the useful power over here? Useful power is the power contained in the sidebands. The power contained in the sideband is the useful power. Power in the upper sideband plus power in the lower sideband. That is the useful power. So power in upper sideband plus power in lower sideband divided by total power. Okay. If you simplify this expression, you get this is AC square mu square by 4 divided by AC square by 2 1 plus mu square by 2. If you simplify it further, you get the final expression mu square plus divided by 2 plus mu square into 100%. So this is the power efficiency for the conventional amplitude modulated signal or DSB-C type of a signal. Third important parameter that we have already seen is regarding the bandwidth of the conventional AM modulated signal, that is twice of omega m, where omega m is the maximum frequency component in message signal, right? And fourth one is regarding the modulation index, that is AM by AC, ratio of amplitude of the message to the amplitude of the carrier signal, and its range is in between 0 to 1. The desirable range is between 0 to 1. Now let us quickly have a look at whatever we have done till now was for a single tone type of a message signal, right? Now let us quickly look at the scenario for the case of the multi-tone amplitude modulated signal, right? Multi-tone amplitude modulated, and we'll consider the same type of modulation scheme, that is DSB-C, double sideband with carrier signal. Okay, by multi-tone we mean there are more than one frequency component present in the message signal. Like MT would be of the form AM1, let's say cos omega m1 into T plus AM2 cos of omega m2 into T. So clearly there are two different frequency components present in the message signal here, that is omega m1 and omega m2. Thus we call it a multi-tone AM signal. There can be more than two as well. Okay. So now let us see what are the changes in the important parameters of the modulated signal that we get due to the increase in the frequency components of the message signal. So the modulated signal x of AMT, DSB-C type of modulated signal would be of the form AC into 1 plus mu1 cos of omega m1 into T plus mu2 cos of omega m2 into T and into cos of omega CT. This is the empty signal, and the carrier signal CT is your AC cos omega CT. Okay. And this, using such a message and the carrier signal, the standard DSB-C modulated signal will be of this form: AC into 1 plus mu1 cos omega m1t plus mu2 cos omega m2t cos omega CT. I hope you can easily correlate it with the standard expression of the single tone type of AM modulated signal, where we had only a single modulation index and the single term, right? And regarding the modulation index, the overall modulation index, total modulation index would be equal to mu1 square plus mu2 square root of mu1 square and mu2 square, where mu1 and mu2 are the individual modulation index based on the different frequency component. Now, like in the message signal, we have two frequency components, omega m1 and omega m2. So both these frequency components have different amplitudes. So these different amplitudes will lead to different modulation index. Like mu1 would be equal to am1. Sorry. This will be equal to am1 divided by AC, and mu2 will be equal to am2 divided by AC. Alright. So this these will be the individual modulation index, and the overall modulation index mu t can be calculated as such. Alright. And similarly, the power transmitted required to be transmitted is PT, that is PC into 1 plus mu t square by 2. Now for the multi-tone type of a scenario, it will be mu t instead of mu, right? And one more thing you can find out over here is, you can observe from this expression, if you find the spectrum of this signal, okay, if you find out the spectrum of this signal, what will be the change that you get? Now, instead of single pair of sidebands, earlier there was a single pair of sideband, one lower sideband and one upper sideband. There was a single pair, right? Now we'll have two pairs of sideband here. Okay. Like for example, we assume that AM1 is greater than AM2 and omega M1, M2 let's say, is greater than omega M1. We take this assumption. So the spectrum of this multi-tone signal would be something like this. This is your carrier signal, which is always present at omega C frequency. Alright. Then we'll have one upper sideband related to the first frequency component. Now we know omega M2 is greater than omega M1. Okay. This is omega C minus omega M2, and the other upper sideband will be at omega C minus omega M1. So this will be plus. So this, just a minute, this will be omega C plus omega M1, and this is omega C plus omega M2. And now since AM1 is greater, so this particular sideband will be, magnitude will be more as compared to this. And this point would be omega C minus omega M1, and this would be omega C minus omega M2. Right? Similarly, the negative counterpart would be there. So the spectrum of this multi-tone type of a signal would be something like this. So we can easily observe from here that there are two pairs of sideband now. This is upper sideband 1, this is upper sideband 2, this is lower sideband 1, and this is lower sideband 2. So on the contrary to the single tone type of a system, in case of multi-tone, as the number of frequency components increases, the number of sideband pair increases accordingly. So now since we have in this case two frequency components, there are two frequency components in the message signal, so there will be two pair of sidebands here. Alright, if there were three frequency components, the number of sideband pairs would be 3 if we analyze the spectrum. Okay, so this is the simple concept of the multi-tone amplitude modulation scheme. Now let us practice a few numericals based on this DSBC or the conventional amplitude modulation type of a system to give you a better idea of what we have studied till now. Alright, after that we'll look at the generation methods. How do we generate such kind of modulation schemes, and how do we further demodulate it, right? Okay, so we'll have a look at the questions now. The first question is, for an AM signal, total sideband power is given as 100 watts with 50% of modulation. find the total AM transmitted power. So we are given with three things rather. It's a AM signal. Whenever you are given with in the question or anywhere it's written it's a AM signal. The particular type of AM signal is not specified. So by default we assume it to be a conventional AM or DSB-C type of a signal. Okay. So one thing is clear from here, that is a DSB-C type of a signal. The total sideband power is given as 100 watt. The total sideband power, that is upper sideband plus lower sideband, is given as 100 watt. Okay, and 50% of modulation, that means the modulation index is 0.5. okay, and we need to find out the total transmitted power, PT. This is the simple problem that we have here. So PT, we know it is PC into 1 plus mu square by 2. Alright, we have the knowledge about mu is given to us. We need to find out PC, right? And we are given with total sideband power to us. Alright, now we know that the total sideband power PSB is equal to power of upper sideband plus power of lower sideband, and that in total results into AC square mu square by 4, and PC, the power of carrier, is nothing but AC square by 2, right? So we can say that this is nothing but total sideband power is nothing but PC into mu square by 2, isn't it? Just substituting PC as A square by 2 as PC in this expression. Alright, and we are given with this power, that is 100 watt. Okay, so PC mu square by 2, which is total sideband power, is equal to 100, right? From here we know what is mu, it is 0.5. We can easily find out PC from here. So PC comes out to be 800 watts, and so total transmitted power will be now equal to PC plus total sideband power, because there are three components, carrier and the two sidebands. So the total power will be 800 plus 100 watt, that is equal to 900 watt. So from here also you can observe that carrier alone consume a very good amount of power transmitted, which is of no use. Alright, so this is the first problem. Moving on to the second one. Alright, so in the next problem we have is for an amplitude modulated signal, each of the sideband power is given to us, that is 2 kilowatt. It is the single sideband power, not the combined one, and the carrier power given to us is 8 kilowatts, and we need to find out the percentage of modulation. So the things given to us are single sideband power, that is 2 kilowatt. So we can say that it's the power of either upper sideband or the power of the lower sideband, and that's equivalent to 2 kilowatts. So the total sideband power we can say is around 4 kilowatts, right? And we are also given with the carrier power, that is PC, it is 8 kilowatts. Okay, so again you can see that now the amount of power contained in the carrier component is much more as compared to the power in the sidebands. Thus we are wasting a huge amount of power in case of conventional amplitude modulated signal. And thus, since we have the power of all the components, so we can say that the total transmitted power for such a system is 4 plus 8, that is 12 kilowatts is the total transmitted power required for this signal. But we need to find out the percentage of modulation, and this total transmitted power PT, the expression is PC into 1 plus mu square by 2. We are well aware of this PT, we know PC, so we can easily find out mu, that is the modulation index from here, and which comes out to be 1 after solving this expression. Alright, so in the next question we are given with the carrier signal, that is 10 cos 2 pi into 10 to the power 6 into t, and the message signal is again a sinusoidal signal, and we are given with a 50% modulation scheme, and we are also given with the antenna resistance, that is 5 ohms. Alright, so that also we need to factor in over here, and we need to find out all the parameters of AM, and further plot AM spectrum and identify the spectral components. So the available the information with us is we are given with the carrier signal, that is 10 cos 2 pi into 10 to the power 6 into t, and the standard expression is AC cos 2 pi fc into t, right? So it will help us to find out the important parameters from this. Similarly, the message signal mt given in the question is 4 pi into 10 to the power 3 t, that is equal to am cos 2 pi fm t, isn't it? So with this comparison we can easily find out the amplitude of the carrier is 10 volts and the carrier frequency is 10 to the power 6, or you can say 1 megahertz, and similarly the amplitude of the modulating signal is 4 volts and the message signal frequency present is 2 into 10 to the power 3, that is 2 kilohertz, isn't it? So it's a single tone modulation. So bandwidth, the first part of the question is to find all the parameters of AM. By all the parameters we mean bandwidth, total transmitted power efficiency, and so on, right? So these are the parameters that we need to find out. So bandwidth, we know it's a single tone signal, right? So bandwidth is twice of omega m for the conventional amplitude modulated signal, and that is or you can say twice of fm, so that is equal to 2 into 2 kilohertz, right? So bandwidth is equal to 4 kilohertz. That is quite simple. Modulation index, what is the modulation index? It is the ratio of AM to AC, right? So modulation index will be AM divided by AC, that is equal to 4 by 10, right? Or rather we are given with, instead of finding out the modulation index this way, we are already given with the modulation index or the percentage in the question. Yeah, I forgot that it's 50% of the modulation. So modulation index given to us is 0.5. It's already given to us, and the antenna resistance is given as 5 ohms, right? So the carrier power PC would be AC square by 2 into R, because since power is equal to V square by R, so we are using the same thing over here. So PC would come out to be, substituting the value of AC and R, we get 10 watt. Okay, with the help of PC now we find out PT, that is PC into 1 plus mu square by 2, and this comes out to be 10 into 1 plus 0.5 square divided by 2, and if we simplify it we get PT is equal to 11.25 watt. So now we have total power with us, we have the carrier power with us, we have the bandwidth with us. Alright, now we can easily find out the sideband power as well. Power of sideband will be total power minus carrier power, so it will be 11.25 minus 10 watts, that is equal to 1.25 watts. So this is the power contained in the sidebands. Alright, power contained in both the sidebands in total. So the power in upper sideband, it will be equal to power in lower sideband, that will be equal to power in sideband divided by 2, that is equal to 0.625 watts, right? Next we can find out the power efficiency, that is represented by eta, that is equal to mu square by 2 plus mu square, or the power of sideband to the total power, right? So it comes out to be 0.11 or equivalently 11%, right? Now comes the second part of the question, is that is plot the AM spectrum and identify the spectral components that are present into it. Okay, so it's a single tone, so only a single pair of sideband will be present. We need to plot the spectrum. Carrier will be present at omega c, or rather fc. Here we are dealing with frequency in hertz, fc, which is equal to, what is fc frequency? 1 megahertz or 1000 kilohertz, right? And this is the carrier it is AC square by 2, that is equivalent to 5, and the upper sideband, and we have another lower sideband. The upper sideband is present at FC plus FM. FM is 2 kilohertz, so FC plus FM becomes 1002 kilohertz. Similarly, this will be FC minus FM, that will be 998 kilohertz. And we can clearly see the bandwidth of this modulated signal is 4 kilohertz, and the sideband power is 1.25. Alright, similar counterpart on the negative end, right? So this is the spectrum of the modulated signal, and these are the different components, spectral components present in the spectrum. Alright, so that is all for this lecture. We'll continue with the generation techniques of AM and the demodulation techniques of conventional AM in the next one. Thank you.